interpreter is a communications officer who is responsible for the oral translation of spoken texts. An interpreter should not be seen as a translator, because a translator translates written texts. The profession of interpreter has two forms, namely the consecutive and simultaneous interpretation. Interpreters are often used when it is important to translate directly. For example, an interpreter can be used by the judiciary or the police if necessary. But the European Parliament also often uses interpreters in their daily work. If an interpreter works for the judiciary, it is important that the interpreter is sworn in as a court interpreter. An interpreter can also be used to translate for deaf or hard of hearing people, but we speak of a sign language interpreter. The work of an interpreter is important because no misunderstanding should arise due to the incorrect translation. Especially interpreters who work for the judiciary have to work very carefully, because translation errors can have unpleasant consequences. As an interpreter, you are therefore an important intermediary for institutions and people, and you are not allowed to make mistakes while interpreting. An interpreter usually translates into their own mother tongue, but this does not always have to be the case. There are also interpreters who speak multiple languages and can translate. An interpreter is therefore responsible for the oral translation of spoken messages and will not translate individual words. This is an important difference with the work of translators. An interpreter translates spoken messages directly and accurately so that people with different mother tongues can understand each other. The work of an interpreter therefore requires the right interpreter, because the smooth and correct translation of spoken messages takes a lot of concentration. In most cases, ordinary translators do not have to translate directly, because it often concerns text on paper or, for example, audio messages.